Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Thursday, February the 2nd, 2023. And another wild and crazy day. Definitely a wild and crazy day, all the way up until the extra 1 hour close. And so let's just kind of jump in. It was an interesting morning, and interpreting all of that, and then this incredible rally, and then this incredible push up on through 12,600, 700, 800, and eventually 900. And it was a non-stop run for the brass ring, or just like gamma squeeze, gamma explosions, volatility, and very widespread. There were many things you could find, like Carvana. Carvana had 400 something volatility, and from what I understand, it's the latest Reddit, whatever that crowd is, and they're in there doing their stuff in there. And then we have big play in Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Tesla. Massive. The Dow for the better part of the day was down over 100. The S&P struggled up and down, back and forth, et cetera, but managed to hold on due to what was going on in the NASDAQ, because Tesla, big stock, heavily weighted stock in the S&P, I mean. Apple, heavily weighted stock in the S&P. Amazon, heavily weighted stock in the S&P. So it was getting carried up. The NASDAQ itself, at several points, was up over 400, closer to 500. And so I'm sitting there like, wow, are we reaching the top? Is this it? Are we reaching out? Or is there going to be more? And I'm going to have to shift over the primary B wave. But no, right now, I don't think so. So I'm going to start out on that daily so we can look and see again where that is. 13,763. It's 1,000 point. It is, yes, a little bit more than 1,000 points from where we are. And so, is that possible? Well, eventually, but I don't think so for tomorrow. And let me just walk through this whole sequence. I mean, Meta is going to continue to contribute, but now it's to at what level? Are we going to run it to 200? Are we going to let it drop back down? Is this whole buyback thing going to go over real quick and it's going to be done? So, will it fade into, be put on the back burner type stuff? This all, I don't know. But as I can tell, we've done and qualified to finish up quite a few things. I probably could take out that so we could see more of the labeling inside. But we got 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we very successfully went up and created a new high above wave A. And that I felt was pretty strong. And that gave more credence to actually making the shift to this count, because if that was minor wave 2, this would have invalidated itself. So it was a good switch. It was the right switch. Now let's see, because in all honesty, the way that they were going after this today, you must leave open at least for tomorrow. Or it's going to be, let me just say, it could be an extremely, very wild expiration tomorrow. It really can be. And if there's a big switch, now again, just bear with me. And if you can look at, you are looking at the screens. Here we are in Apple. Okay. Right now, they've bought the stop back. Apple dropped down. Apple was down, I think about 4 from the close. They're buying, they brought it back up a little bit. Now, tomorrow is expiration. Where were they lining up? 150. Are they going to try? It's only a 3-point move. Sure. Why not? They can get it back to 150. But if that doesn't work, you're going to have a lot of adjusting look at all this. 155. So they were like, we're going to love the earnings. And then if they were sellers of puts, you're going to have a problem. So we've got a lot of activity. And if they really get swinging on this thing, then there's could just be a lot of adjustments. Let's go over and take a look at Tesla. This one, daily, folks, now is knocking my socks off. Look at the size of the options that traded. The 190s, 202,000. The 195s, 206, almost 207,000. The 200s, 362,000. That's 36 million shares of stock. That's 20 million. This is another 20 million. That's what's represented in that number. If this closes above 190, that's what comes into play. If it closes above 195, this is the additional that comes into play. If it goes above 200, here's the additional that comes into play. And it was up to 196 today. So it was close. And then you have the same thing here. If it goes below 185, that's more realistic. You got all this coming into play. 180, you got a whole bunch more coming into play. So again, this is my point, that this is what we have going on. And tomorrow it all expires and it settles into cash. The money. So we got, now granted that Tesla's float is over 3 billion, but that's still a lot of stock. That's a lot of stock that's trading. And yesterday was 200 million. The day before it was 200 million. So this level has been going on for a week, 2 weeks. I think it started last week. So again, lots and lots. Now, one last, I just want to check. In META, the puts are trading, which is kind of strange because for a while they weren't trading any of the puts. The calls, not as great, but 190, 100,000 shares of stock. And then on up, 192.5. And this stock traded to 197. There you go. Run them up. There's 86,000, there's 28,000, there's 55,000, 32,000, 100,000. And we can go on. 20,000, 35,000 shares of stock, 150 million shares trades, and it's still trading. So a lot of things can happen between now and tomorrow. And with them all expiring, with the plan being that they thought we were going to continue to climb, that we would just continue to go up. There would still be a great deal of money changing hands tomorrow. But now it's going to be a little bit more difficult to push an upward narrative. Now, you know what? Before I say never, which I've told you many times, I learned the hard way, never to say never. I'm going to get back down to that daily. Let's talk about what happened. So I'm going to open this up, go down to the hourly. So here we are in that last 5. So I got 1, 2, and that's where I left it last night. And I thought maybe you could do 3 and 4, and I tried, but I kept pushing up through. I had to change it 1, 2, and there was the 3. Here was the 4 and the 5, which came on Amazon's earnings. I'm not sure why, but suddenly from like there was this huge spike up to 12,950, put in a new high, and then died. And I'm not talking died. This is 1 hour, 12,956. And actually, the reason it was not 1 hour, because this all happened before 1:30 or 4:30 Eastern. It's just the whole bar was an hour. So 12,948, and within that same hour, 12,608. 300 points, kaboom. So it was a good showing. Now, I'm leaving this open because I know tomorrow's expiration. If we don't come in and be down here, we're always going to have the probability or potential that we go up one more time. We go up yet again. This could be moved to there. This could be moved out to wherever it came in and blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm leaving it there because that's the feeling I got. Everybody was hanging their hat on Meta's earnings Tesla's squeeze, Apple, Amazon, and Google's earnings, plus the Fed. So we had a very, very outstanding week in terms of figures and earnings and all this other stuff. Well, now all that is known. So what actually will now happen is going to be important. Now they bring it back down, right? Now we got Amazon back down 4. We got Google. Where is Google? Back down 4. Apple, back down 2. So, things are kind of hanging in there. So if the sellers do show up and they start to wind out of positions, you got a lot of things are going to unwind together, particularly the NDX, or not the NDX, the NASDAQ, the future options. Also, over in the ES, the future options, SPX options, a lot of stuff. So could be a very, very busy day with lots of volume finally, because the volume going up was not that great. But I want to tell you, in that last hour, well, here is actually where it started. That was a high volume. And the volume came. So, okay, NASDAQ. We have tomorrow the employment situation number. That's it, pretty much. Still carryover from Jerome Powell's week presentation and his conference call. To put out a hawkish statement and then do a dovish press conference was a little bit of a dichotomy. Nonetheless, I'm leaving the upper. So in other words, I've put in the subminute 5. I've put in the minute 5, but I'm leaving off the minor C and the intermediate 2 for right now, because I have to leave open the potential possibilities that we will go up one more time and maybe give it a stab to try to get to 13,000. Those were numbers. They were in there. We did hit 12,953. That was a fib. We hit it on the nose. We were hitting fibs on the nose pretty much all day. So therefore, I just kind of believe that maybe we kind of have reached our level. What I would look for to give me confirmation, you see the 4 and the 8 have turned, the 20 has gone flat, the 50 wants to, and the 200 went, not going up anymore. And we're just going flat. And it'll stay that way. The 50 and the 200 will stay that way. If this really begins to drop, the 50 will then start to turn. And if it comes in breaks here, it will eventually start to turn. But again, remember, we're coming from a high level, which pushed all these moving averages. So the quicker the quicker we drop, the quicker they've dropped below the 200. And we're going to get additional confirmation that once we break below 12,000, we should be headed much lower. Again, yet to be seen. Totally yet to be seen. So until such time, we continue to carry the probability and the possibility of another swing higher. We have seen that happen more times than not. Okay, so that is the NASDAQ. Let's go over and look at the S&P. In the S&P, pretty much the same deal. Got the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got the 5. Now here, I did not put the labeling, so I'm going to open that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this lovely 5 up to here. And then that's just an A, a B, and a C. So in this one, I have to keep it open. And here's why. 1, 2, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3? Possible. So I'm leaving it open. The NASDAQ was a little bit more convincing because this came up and made a new high. Now, could it be a small failure on the S&P? Maybe. This got up to 4209. This got up to 4208. If so, the 5 would go there. That 5 would stay there, but the subminute 1, subminute 2, subminute 3, subminute 4, subminute 5 would all fit. So, but I'm going to leave it open for right now. leaving the minute 5 and the minor C for the S&P. And then again, up above that is going to be an intermediate wave 2. So again, up to here. Now, let's check just, I almost going to give something that I shouldn't say on a podcast. Let's take the very first look at what may be coming in terms of a intermediate third wave. And that's going to be extensions. And we're going to do it here on the daily. Go here to here to here. And what we're looking at, minimum, where wave 3 would be equal to wave 1 at 33.83. We know that it's a wave 3 and it's within an intermediate, actually, excuse me, a primary. We're looking for much lower. So again, we're back to 3,000 down to 28.72. 3,000 down to 28.72. Okay, that would just be intermediate wave 3. And I believe in my heart of hearts that once it begins, it's going to go. It's going to go. Now, that I'm going to take right off because I'm not saying that that's what's happening right now. I'm waiting for confirmation. And I think even doing what I'm doing, I learn. I'm giving you the hint that that's what I'm looking at, but I'm waiting for additional confirmation. Number one, on an hourly chart, I want to see 5 down off of whatever the high is going to be. I want to see 5 down. That's going to be 1. And that's what I look for. Here on the S&P, nicely done, S&P. The 200 is still kind of pointing up. The 50 is definitely pointing up. The 20 is definitely, but now it's even turned a little bit. So that was like these moving averages up to the 20 kept a very clean pace with the rally. So when they start to break, okay, I'm getting a sign that that's what's happening. These are the signs. I've put back up the squeeze, because you can see we got squeeze on the way up. Now we're going to be looking for squeezes on the way back down, and eventually go to here, and that's going to make us very nice, and we'll be able to play it. So that's why I put it back up there. And if you have Thinkorswim, it's available. It's free. And it's included within Thinkorswim. So we may have to have a little bit more. Now we got up to that range that I've been following forever and a day. 42 to 46.07, and then we had 42.14 up there on the top. And it got up there and it hit it on the nose, not once, but twice. Third time would be a charm? Yeah, maybe. But in any case, I decided this because of the turn, of the earnings. What else do we got to look at? What else do we have? You know, so it's et cetera, et cetera. What else do we got to wait on? Yes, we have some additional, but I think they're going to take their cue from what's now already happened. So I think that it lets the air out of the balloon. If you know what I mean. It kind of takes the wind out of the sail. Because now we're more cautious. Now it's like, oh, so we're not, it's just not this be complacent bull market to new highs. No, probably not. Not even, I don't think, 4,400 I've heard, 4,300 for most people are like, that should be a certain. And the way we were moving, I got it. It's like, yeah, I'm following you. I'm following you. But it seemed to put in a very clean pattern right now. Will allow for an additional move. And that would take us up to like 42.16 to 42.35. Top side would be 42.64, I believe. And that should be pretty stiff. But the way it was moving today, it's like, okay, you're going to get there up. And if these earnings would have come out positive as what the expectations truly were, then boom, these things would have been gone. Seriously, they would have been gone. All right. I am not going to drag on anymore. I am just going to close up. Here we are. Tomorrow, Friday, jobless claims, plus everything that's been left over. Plus, that will give the opportunity for the broader market, retail, everybody, get those orders in for pre-market, what you're going to do to get it to their asset managers, and then they got to schedule it. So I'll be very interested to see how all that pans out, because we saw some stronger buying today, not very big volume in the futures, but just walk up. So sellers were kind of absent until right there and then right there. All right, next update will be, on Sunday, February the 5th.